Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Friday, July 19th, around 8:15 p.m. Mountain Time 2024. A major earthquake rattled the Atacama Desert in Chile moments after we aired the show yesterday. The good news is that there are no casualties. The big story: the biggest IT outage in history is ongoing, and we'll have more in just a second. Keep calm. It's boom time. Airports, banks, and hospitals disrupted by the biggest IT outage in history. Not to mention stores and computer processing. Most of Pagosa is down, as well as many other areas that I've been hearing about. So what's going on? Well, I'll tell you. It was a software update from CrowdStrike that affected Microsoft Windows computers, causing havoc for businesses across the world, and it's still ongoing. It was around 3 p.m. Sydney time, 7 a.m. Paris time, or last night, in fact, here in the U.S. on July 19th, when the first problems appeared. In Australia's largest airport, the information screens turned blue. No departure times were displayed. Soon, the machines used to check in passengers failed. In Canberra, Perth, and Auckland, Jetstar, Virgin, and other airlines began canceling their flights. An hour later, what appeared to be an air traffic problem, already serious on the eve of one of the summer's biggest holiday weekends, turned out to be far more serious. Australia's ABC television channel briefly disappeared from the screens. The payment systems of two of the country's major banks malfunctioned, and the cash registers of several supermarket chains stopped working. This is not exclusive to Australia and New Zealand. This was worldwide. And it wasn't a cyber attack. It was, in fact, a company called CrowdStrike. Who is CrowdStrike? And how could we possibly, the entire world, be running on software from one single company? That's my question. Well, to get to the bottom of it, it's not who is CrowdStrike, is what is CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is the company linked to this global outage that's ongoing. Now, they found the problem and the fix, but it's going to take some time to fix all of the problems because many of the computers affected, the people running them don't have the right codes or admissions for admin to fix the problem locally. So they might have to do this anyway. It is a big nightmare. The problem is that CrowdStrike is too big to fail, and they just failed. The massive cybersecurity company does business around the world through software sales and investigations of major hacks. And they just, had one of the most major faux pas in history. The company also helps run cybersecurity investigations for the U.S. government. I wonder if there's any connection there. For example, CrowdStrike has tracked North Korean hackers for more than a decade. The company says it also was tasked with tracking the hacking groups that carried out the 2014 hack on Sony Pictures. But CrowdStrike is perhaps best known for investigating the Russian hack of Democratic National Committee computers during the 2016 U.S. election. It has been at the center of a false conspiracy theory, most notably after the White House transcript revealed former President Donald Trump mentioned CrowdStrike in his 2016 call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that led to his first impeachment. The point is that even Donald Trump knew CrowdStrike was a problem, and now we see a worldwide outage because of one single gigantic multinational corporation that is being propped up by the CIA and shadow governments. I think that very bad things are ahead in the future. Please be prepared, not scared. Days of downpours soak the southern U.S. in record-breaking stretch of wet, stormy weather. Stormy weather for Texas this weekend, yes, and next week as well, all the way through next weekend. Excessive rainfall in the Carolinas and southern Rockies. Dangerous heat has returned to the western U.S. Heavy to excessive rainfall may lead to areas of flash and urban flooding over parts of the southern Rockies and eastern Carolinas today, continuing over the southern Rockies through the weekend. Dangerous heat persists over the southwest U.S. through the middle of next week, while spreading into the northern Rockies and high plains from the interior northwest. I can tell you it's been, well, quite reasonable here all summer. Quick look at the GFS model shows this persistent rain day after day east of the Rockies and some popping up west of the Rockies in the Four Corners region due to the monsoon. This leads us all the way into August, where the pattern does not appear to stop. Let's take a quick look at the total accumulated precipitation so you can take a look at what we're dealing at. Look at that. That's just through the end of next week. So we're going to have flooding conditions day after day for the entire Southwest, which is good news for parched Texas, but I do digress. Heavy rain and precipitation will persist through August with a big dry hole on the West Coast, as usual. Now, UK fear-mongering has stepped it up a notch. Here we can see an update. UK weather, hottest day of the year so far as temperatures top 30 C. Heathrow Airport records 31.2 C with health alerts in place across the Midlands, Eastern, and Southern England. Do you know how stupid this is? They have health alerts in place for 88 degrees. That's 31.2 C. Heathrow Airport, 31.2 C with health alerts for 88-degree temperatures in summer? That is cold for summer. What in the world is going on? Now, the problem is that there is a huge portion of the population being brainwashed that 88 degrees Fahrenheit deserves a health alert. They deserve a mental health checkup, in my opinion. This is going too far. Please wake up. 31.2 C does not deserve a health alert or a heat alert or anything in summer. That would be a cool day in summer anywhere in the mid-latitudes. Absolute garbage coming out from The Guardian once again. Total sharticle. Cold records from 1899 fall in Queensland with vigorous winds and blizzards forecast. That's what the mainstream media calls record cold. Vigorous winds and blizzards. How hilarious. It is the same gaslighting one direction as it is in the other. 88 degrees needs health alerts for extreme heat, and records being broken back to 1899 is just vigorous winds and blizzards. I can't even make this up. Cold records from 1899 fall in Queensland with vigorous winds and blizzards according to forecasts. Absolutely insane. Focusing on the Aussie tropics, i.e. Queensland, Thursday morning saw Palmerville, located at 16 degrees south, reach 32.9 Fahrenheit, smashing the July record of 1.7 C that stood since 1899. That is a huge difference from 0.5 C as the new record from 1.7 C. More records blasted at Kawanyama, posted 4.9 C, which is a full 1 C below the July record back in 1984. And there are more records, but there are still people in Australia that say that this is not true. It's the hottest year ever because they only read the news, let it percolate down through their brain and soak it all up and gobble it up as if it's truth. Charter Towers posted 0.1 C, which breaks the all-time record set back in 1899 by 1 C. Another record. And I won't go on. There's a whole list here. Become a member over at electroverse.info to keep up on the actual weather facts. Now, Chile copper and lithium mines were rattled by a 7.4 magnitude quake in the Atacama Desert of Chile. Yes, it's true. The earthquake hit northern Chile Thursday night at 45 kilometers outside of San Pedro de Atacama, where the majority of the country's vast copper and lithium mines are located. The main quake hit at 9:50 p.m. local time, according to the USGS, has been followed by at least 5 aftershocks. And the good news is the seismic activity did shake homes and led to power outages, but there have been no immediate reports of injuries or major damages. And in fact, we can take a look at the plethora of aftershocks here in right above that quake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The initial quake at 7.4, the largest aftershock at 5 magnitude. The good news, this quake was centered at 133.2 kilometers at depth. Had it been up near the surface, this would have been devastating. But because it was so deep below the crust, very little shaking at the surface for this magnitude. Good news. Worldwide, seismic update. We do have another major earthquake up here in the Aleutians, a 6 magnitude, 168 kilometers southwest of Nikolsky, Alaska. No information on that quake whatsoever. Overall, normal activity worldwide except those 2 outliers. And that brings us to space weather. Over at Solarham for July 20th, you can see the last 24 hours, we did have some M flares. None of them producing any CMEs of note that we're aware of as of yet. We are waiting for a geomagnetic storm to emerge in the next 24 hours tomorrow night into Sunday morning. The forecast is for G1 geomagnetic storm at the cusp where it's dark in North America. So get out and look up. A quick look at the sunspots as solar activity continues at moderate levels and we head into the weekend with occasional M flares and minor C flares detected. It doesn't look like there is any danger of any large flares coming, although, according to the forecast, there is a 10% chance of X flares. So, stay tuned for more booms. Quick look at telemetry shows about 18 hours ago a shift in the phi angle. Really didn't affect the telemetry much. A slight rise in plasma speed here up to 370 kilometers per second, but the KP is still down low below 2. Who knew? Now you do. Take a look at this. I don't know if you've guys seen any of the reusable rockets from SpaceX, Elon Musk's Starlink launches of his Falcon Heavy rocket. Absolutely spectacular. These are some of the initial stages coming, re-entering and landing back on Earth. Elon Musk and SpaceX are the first to ever do this. And it is completely mind-blowing and just shows you how technologically advanced we are, what types of technologies are out there that we're unaware of, that like the CIA, the shadow government, the deep state are using, and may explain like all of the UAVs and UFO phenomenon up in the air. It's not aliens, it's our own government. Take a look at this, and kudos to Elon Musk.
PYNY entry burn shut down.
This is the spent initial rocket stage falling back to Earth at terminal velocity. Spoiler alert, there's 2 of them we're going to witness. Watch this. It's going to do a burn before it hits the surface and explodes, stabilize, and land perfectly.
PYNY landing burn.
Stage 2, terminal guided. Stage 2, terminal guided.
PYNY landing flight. PYNY landing confirmed.
Holy macaroni. If that is not science fiction before your very eyes, I don't know what is. Please leave a comment below. Come over and subscribe to Spaceflight Now and give a thumbs up. Tell them Diamond sent you. Eastern Arizona man finds hundreds of tracks that predate dinosaurs on his property. This is a paleontological find like no other. These tracks predate the Triassic by tens of millions of years, And they are a group of giant lizards that predate dinosaurs that once roamed across Arizona. Lee and I are going to be touching on this tomorrow on the radio show because it's hard to pull up the paper here. Oh, there we go. So here is the stratigraphy. Here are some of the tracks. But that's about as far as we're going to get. A fantastic find. In fact, hundreds of perfectly preserved tracks, if not thousands, from 240 million year old giant lizards that predate the dinosaurs. All the links will be below. And join us tomorrow on Magnetic Reversal News for a replay of the radio show. 700,000-year-old human skulls found in Greece completely shatter the out-of-Africa theory. As more hominid evidence worldwide rolls in, the out-of-Africa theory, well, it's holding zero weight. There were hominids all over the world, as Leah and I have suggested for years. And maybe we'll get to that topic tomorrow. I'm sure many of you heard by now, but an investment firm called FinTech that allegedly had put options on 12 million Trump stocks the day before the assassination attempt is blaming a filing error. Well, wow. Can you imagine how lucky they got? Rothschild, BlackRock, Vanguard, Meta, George Bush, the Cheney family are among the top investors involved in FinTech. You do the math. And join us tomorrow for an expose on, well, scientism on revolution.radio. Lee and I will be in Studio B like we are every Saturday, noon Mountain Time. Just come over to Studio B here at revolution.radio, click play, and, well, listen to the show. We're going to be covering this paper, reversals and large-scale variations of the geomagnetic field, similarities and differences, and how melanin has a protective role during these reversals. Thank God we produce it. And if you're a ginger, you might want to hide in a cave. And that's a boom to knowledge. Please share this video. We are shadow banned, and we need your help to grow. Become a Patreon. Support the work we do. We love you. Leave a comment below, and I'll make sure to read it. We love you. Be safe.